what are some key indicators and metrics to look for when evaluating long-term potential for a company?
Yeah, for me now, given this potential threat of war, like I don't think the United States is going to fall overnight, but I do need to see that they have a dominant run in other countries and other continents. So it's even interesting to see, and we were talking about it before, like I think we were talking about it yesterday, like Huawei, huge in China. Then all of a sudden they wouldn't allow that tech here over fear of being taken over. Why? Because Apple lobbied, because they want to have more dominance in China. And if Huawei tech comes
They
here.
had the first 5G phone, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if their tech is better, let's be real, some of the Android phones are way better than the iPhone. It's not more popular.
Better camera for sure.
Yeah, better camera for sure. But if the Huawei tech got here and they rebranded it or did it, let's say like with Tesla, and they made like a Tesla phone, and that was 2 times better than the iPhone, that would kill Apple's market share considerably. So now going forward, like if a company does not have international exposure and does not have a good run in India or a good run in China, I cannot invest in it. Like we can no longer invest in companies that just are dominant in America or maybe even just in North America. It's one of the biggest risks that you're going to have going forward in your portfolio.
So the economic landscape of countries.
Absolutely.
That's one of I mean, it was. I wrote down like economic indicators. So like the GDP of a country.
That matters.
That matters. Like the CPI, how much we're spending for our products matters.
Yeah.
Unemployment rate matters.
Matters a lot.
And then it was like fundamental indicators, and we spoke about it last night. It was like, number one, if I'm looking at a company long term, let me look at its technicals to see from its inception how it's performed.
Yeah.
And from that, let's see if the company's been profitable. If I'm going to invest in a company, I want to know that there's going to be some profitability. Yeah. Right? And then operating cash flow. How much free operating cash flow do they have? Because that tells me about the future of the company. It tells me how healthy they are. It tells me what they can do going forward. Yeah. Can they acquire a company? Are they going to be able to scale? When I'm looking for a long-term investment, those are the things I'm looking at. Yeah. Right? I mean, those are probably the most important indicators in any business, right? Can I scale? Absolutely. Do I have money to scale? What's the growth proposition? Can we acquire if we need? Right? Like, those are things that I'm looking at.
And the GDP matters a lot. Like, imagine, well, after 50 and Jimmy Henchman got into it, did 50 go to Jimmy Henchman's kid and teach him how to be a great business owner and how to start shows?
Sensitive topic.
Didn't, right? That's what we did with India and China. Like, we built India's and China's middle class. Now, all of a sudden, we were talking about it yesterday, right? Now, China came over to Toronto. They went to LA. They went to New York. They bought all the buildings. You know, like Michael Jackson. I want this one. I want this one. I'll take this one to go. Let me get 3 Lamborghinis. The parking space situation is crazy. They're building like crazy in Mexico. We raised our enemies how to defeat us with our strategy and our tech. We have to be very careful. And I'm not doing this to be sensational, but we have to realize like we are on our last days, and if we don't correct this ship very soon, we're going to end up being like an economic version of Titanic. But what about you? What key indicators are important to you when you're looking at a company?
Assets over liabilities, right? Yes.
The balance sheet.
Your balance sheet.
And that's really all you need.
Well, I mean, ultimately, it's like, keep your debt. I mean, all right. The golden rule in life is to keep your debt low and keep your income high.
Absolutely.
If you can do that, you'll be very successful.
Absolutely.
And who has done that the best? Apple. They have no debt and they have $1 billion in cash.
Yeah.
84 to be exact.
So it's like, we can make this more complicated, but those companies that have never made any money, that are over leveraged, that have a lot of debt, that's talking about potential get coaches fired.
Hey, say it again. That's a bar.
Potential get coaches fired. I learned that when I was in college. My coach used to tell me all the time. He's like, potential get coaches fired. What I mean is like you draft a player and you're saying like, oh, I think he's going to be good. Yeah. I think he's going to do this. No, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Everybody has potential.
Yes.
It's too much. It's too much of a risk to try to play off of potential. Yeah. What are they currently doing? This goes back to the conversation 6 months ago, a year ago. Everybody's like, why y'all keep talking about stocks? That's old. That's outdated. Talk about crypto. Talk about NFTs. Talk about that. You basing this off of potential. All of that fell apart. and the stock market is still here.
He said it. I didn't say it.
But I'm just saying, people need somewhere to live. Real estate's forever.
Absolutely.
Stocks, right? If the stock market crashes, we got big problems.
Oh, yeah, our country's
So it's like, yeah, it's okay to take some risks every once in a while, but you're basing this off of potential, and you're trying to hit home runs, and you're striking out. If you ever play baseball, you know that every home run hitter has more strikeouts than they have hits.
Yeah.
So it's like, stop trying to find something in a company when there's already companies that are easily identifiable.
Yeah. Yep. Like, simple and safety wins. Going back to the Tim Duncan thing, wasn't the flashiest player, could have been born as hell. That's like Eli Lilly, but slowly and surely continues to put wins up on the board versus like Dogecoin. Was hot. Jeremy Lin one summer and then fell apart. Shout out to Jeremy Lin. Amazing career. Appreciate you so much. See, they got me caping for everybody I talk about. They cousins be in my DM like, yo, I'm Jeremy cousin. Remember when I see you with smoke? I don't want no smoke. I'm just trying to be funny. I'm sorry. But invest in things that are going to give you return for the long term. And also like seeing the market here in Toronto, I'm like, our real estate is underpriced. You have to invest. What if the value of our homes comes up and they're almost equal to what the pricing is here?
Well, you say underpriced.
Well, outside.
You're talking about Texas.
And
because in New York, it's not underpriced.
Illinois, yeah, you guys are overpriced.
It's overpriced.
Illinois,
Ridiculous.
Indiana, majority of the Midwest, underpriced. Alabama, Tennessee, even like Nashville, still underpriced in comparison to what it is here.
You said Nashville?
Yeah.
That's on the rise.
It's on the rise.
But I mean,
I
think we underlook Toronto, right? Because we treat it like it's not a major city, and it is.
It's like 7 million people.
That's what I'm saying. It's like what is
and it's the cleaner New York.
I'll
Shout out to everybody in New York. I haven't seen no trash outside, no pizzeria. I'm like, it's beautiful here, despite being 29. They're like, oh, it's a warm season. I'm like, damn.
Well, if you compare it to that, then the real estate in Toronto is actually underpriced.
Or it might be. I mean, if we're looking at New York,
if you compare it to New York,
right,
or LA, it's underpriced.
Ooh.
Slightly,
vastly.
I'm sure the residents in Toronto don't want to hear that. The prices we heard. How much a 5-bedroom costs here?
The good area.
Brampton. I don't know.
Well, let's do a 2-bedroom apartment downtown. $800,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment downtown. That's a studio in Manhattan. Maybe.
That's crazy.
Without parking. There was a studio apartment in Manhattan that sold for $1 million.
I can believe that.
Brownstone in Brooklyn, $4 million, $3 million for a brownstone
to buy
in Harlem and Brooklyn.
Wow.
Underpriced.
So a 5-bedroom, nice area. Well, like the little strip where Carabana used to be. What's that? We're going to be back here in August.
Yeah. I mean, it's right there. $5 million, that's right there.
Y'all quit coming to Houston.
It's a major city.
It's full.
I got a lot of space.
And Toronto have a lot of international money coming over.
Absolutely.
It's an international city, so it's a melting pot. So people from all over.
It's a major city. We're going to treat it as such.
Absolutely.
They got a film industry.
They got everything.
Yeah. So it's underpriced. Buy now.
For 5 years, right? The same game in real estate. Like, you can want to flip something in 30 days, and I'm sure you're gonna run into the guys like, bro, I got a bag for you. What can you do in 60 days? Nothing. Like, we need for 5 years, 10 years.
We need to get in contact with the tourism board. They were like, they told us market monies. They said come up here and buy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We get a little spot in Brampton or something.
Only Americans about to inflate the price.
We're talking about to run this thing up.
Jesus.
What the splits is.
A 2-bedroom is $800. You know what you get for $800 in Houston?
A mansion.
Ray J, indoor pool, outdoor pool. Damn. Go right to Humble. You'll be a king. Live like Big Meech right now, Humble.
Yeah, there's only a few cities where I mean, New York, LA, Miami probably.
Miami's crazy.
Miami's getting crazy.
Phoenix is getting crazy too.
$800 for a 2-bedroom.
Oh, I could. Large house. I got a dog house in the backyard. Even my dog house got a backyard.
My dog house got a backyard.
Boy.
Shout out to Cass.
Jesus.
My graduates from my school being Forbes. Bag drop.
Bag drop.
A mic drop. Bag drop.
Bag drop.